Time now for our financial focus, and of course, analyst Steve Budin is here. Got a lot on our plate today.
Yeah.
Big issues here. The first is this computer virus. It's sort of happening around the world. What is going on with this?
Yeah, it's a great wake-up call for even us as regular citizens and consumers. This WannaCry virus has been going out around the world, and they're trying to extort people that if you don't pay up, they will basically wipe out your computer.
Yeah, they call this ransomware.
Right, it's called ransomware. Now, as individuals, we should certainly protect ourselves. There's a lot of things you can do with your computer. Number one, you should always have the updated antivirus software. You should always have legitimate software. So if you have an operating system, Apple or Windows or whatnot, a lot of folks will buy, they may not know it, they buy pirated software that you cannot update. So every once in a while on your computer you'll see an update is available. Do that as quickly as possible. Yeah,
or sometimes I might borrow it from a friend, maybe.
I know
right?
somebody who did that.
Not the wisest thing to do when you have these updates that have security issues involved. Okay, moving on. College is going to get even more expensive. This to me seems a little bit crazy.
To me, this is the ticking time bomb, and I've mentioned this over the last couple of years. Currently, there's 1.4 trillion with a T, outstanding student loans. And starting July 1st, the interest rate from an undergraduate and graduate perspective is going up about 0.75%. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot of money, but with the average student loan bill, it should and potentially create up to $2,000 a year of extra interest payments.
And this is a trend now we've seen this really showing no signs of slowing down anytime. I mean, as colleges get more expensive, more people are going to have to borrow, and there are a lot of repercussions to this.
It's a vicious circle because student loan debt is one of the few debts that you can't erase. God forbid you need to file bankruptcy. So a lot of graduates leave school. They're burdened with this debt. They can't find jobs to service the debt, and there's really no way out. And my concern is over the next few years, this is going to hit a crisis situation.
Yeah, well, sometimes millennials get a bad rap saying, oh, they're still living at home. But you know what? They can't afford to pay rent or put a down payment on a mortgage because these student loans are choking them.
Well, like you said, some of these student loan balances are mortgages. When you're sitting with, $75,000, $100,000, $150,000 of student loan debt, that's a mortgage.
All right, moving on to our final topic here, and that is money coming into the state from tourists.
Yep.
You said about $2 billion with a B were brought in by tourists last year to the state of Nevada.
Yeah, this is a great report. Over $2 billion came in from tourists, which is clearly why we need to keep the skids greased here to keep the tourists from coming in, whether it's more attractions. But I bring this one up too. I was driving back from Arizona recently, and I noticed that the I-11 corridor is just beginning to be built. Our congressional delegation really needs to widen I-15, needs to fast track this I-11 just to keep the folks coming, because you drive back to California on a Sunday, it's really difficult to do.
And you're saying this is again further evidence to encourage the local political leaders to sort of keep that momentum going in the right direction.
I mean, the tourists are the lifeblood here, and the easier we make it for them to get here, the more profitable it is for all of us.
And the lower our taxes stay, right?
We love that.
All right, Steve Budin, thanks for always for your time. Appreciate it. Dana.
All right. It is 11:20 now. Still to come, critiquing the crown. The new Miss USA is sparking some controversy. Why some are too thrilled about how she answered the judges' questions. Plus, a push for change. Parents from a local high school meet with the principal to discuss a rapid increase in the number of fights on campus.
This just in, actor Carson Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory has tied the knot with his longtime partner, graphic designer Todd Spiewak. They reportedly got married over the weekend on Saturday at the Rainbow Room that's in New York City. They have been in a relationship for more than 14 years. The 44-year-old quietly came out back in 2012. This was after there was a profile about him in the New York Times that mentioned their relationship.
Well, now trending, a lot of people talking today about a historic honor for retired Yankee Derek Jeter. Well, there it is. You can hear the chants there as the Yankees unveiled a plaque in his honor in the Monument Park, which is a museum at Yankee Stadium. The team also retired his jersey, number 2. This all happened before yesterday's game against the Houston Astros. Jeter said he's eternally grateful for being part of the Yankee family. The captain, isn't it?
Yes, congratulations to the captain, absolutely. All right, turns out there could still be a Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor boxing match. UFC's Dana White is saying that he gave McGregor until last night to reach his side of the deal. White says that he threatened to walk away if the fighter couldn't make up his mind. The UFC head says that he plans to sit down with Team Mayweather today to try and negotiate a deal. Now, the fight was originally targeted for some time in September, but that date will have to be pushed back.
It's all part of the
Yes,
fight.
exactly. They're just ramping up that purse.
Ramping it up, yeah. All right, well, a new Miss USA has been crowned in the competition. It was right here in Las Vegas last night. District of Columbia! Well, Kara McCullough was crowned last night at Mandalay Bay Convention Center. The 25-year-old is a scientist who works at the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission. She wowed the judges early on, being dubbed by producers as one of the most intelligent contestants in recent pageants. But people are still talking about her answers about affordable health care. She was asked if it was a right or a privilege.
I'm definitely going to say it's a privilege. As a government employee, I am granted health care, and I see firsthand that for one, to have health care, you need to have jobs. So therefore, we need to continue to cultivate this environment that we're given the opportunity to have health care as well as jobs to all the American citizens worldwide.
Well, McCullough says that she hopes to inspire women who are interested in technology, engineering, and mathematic fields. Also, she will now go on to compete in Miss Universe, and so we'll see if she makes it through.
All right, well, still ahead here on Midday. More drama in the skies. A family heading right here to Las Vegas is kicked off a plane, and it all centers around a cake that they brought on board.
I thought that this would be a very popular thing that I did when I terminated Comey.
Well, fallout over the firing of former FBI Director James Comey continues. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are calling for transparency.
Now, from Las Vegas, this is 13 Action News live at midday.
And right now on Action News Live at midday, passing on some positivity, a middle school's mission to prevent suicide.
I don't know where their conscience was, whether the voice in the back of their head was saying, he's hurt, I gotta do the right thing.
Well, the family of a young Penn State pledge who was killed in a hazing incident is speaking out, and this after they've decided to file a lawsuit against the university.
And ways that you can keep your personal data safe after a massive global cyber attack continues to wreak havoc this midday. Well, hello and thanks for joining us on the second half of 13 Action News Live at midday. I'm Todd Quinones.
And I'm Dana Roselli. Justin Bruce joins us with a look at the weather because I don't know, the topic in town is the wind and how it's the worst spring ever.
That's what everyone's telling me. It's been so windy this spring, and the fact that we have got at least 3 and probably more like 5 breezy days in a row in the forecast.
I'm excited.
Not going to be the most popular meteorologist around, but that's okay. We do think that the atmosphere will gust to 25 miles per hour right on through midday, the afternoon, and even after dark. Temperatures a lot cooler than yesterday. It's only 69 degrees right now at McCarran, 71 in the Southern Highlands, 65 in Summerlin, upper 60s North Las Vegas. We had a few high clouds around earlier today. They are moving out, so look for more and more sunshine as the afternoon wears on. Temperatures today up around 76 degrees. It's 10 degrees cooler than it was yesterday. Look for numbers only in the low 70s at midday, 74 at 3 p.m., and there will be a couple of fair weather clouds during the afternoon. This is a map of the wind, and you can see the values a little stronger down on the southwest side of the map. We'll look at 13-mile-per-hour breezes now in Las Vegas. I'll let you know when the strongest winds are expected today for the Strip and the rest of the valley in just a moment.
All right, thanks, Justin. Well, students are writing notes to each other in school, and the teachers are getting in on it, too.
Yeah, this after CCSD sent home a letter to parents about the Netflix series 13 Reasons Why. Reporter Parker Collins found out what Tarkanian middle schoolers are doing to fight teen suicide.
You Matter May at Tarkanian Middle School means you'll be seeing bracelets like this on campus saying you matter, plus yellow slips like this one that you can send to fellow students telling them what they mean to you. A lot of these posters are all up around campus, and the real push is to make sure students know that people care about them. It's suicide prevention, and it's happening every Friday in May, where you can send notes to your fellow students and they'll be delivered moments later.
Even those small acts of kindness could really just change someone's day or life, and they see that now. I'm told by administrators that on the first Friday they did this earlier in May, they probably sent out more than 100 positive notes. Parker Collins, 13 Action News.
Thanks, Parker. Well, parents with students at Foothill High are pushing for change this morning after they say 6 fights broke out at school on Friday. Well, this is an example of how violent these fights are getting, and 4 of them were caught on camera. We spoke with a girl who was attacked. Alexa Evans is a freshman, and she was sent to the ER with head and face injuries. Her mom is now wondering how the school is going to address the violence.
There's been no letter sent home, no phone message to alert all the parents of what's been going on, and we just want to know what their plan is.
For 6 fights to happen in one day, like even on Twitter and everything, people were like, what is going on? Like, what's happening? You know, it's not normal.
Well, the parents have planned to meet with the principal and other staff, and it happened this morning at 7:15. We'll keep you posted.
Well, Metro Police right now, they're looking for 2 men they say ransacked a pawn shop right near Sahara and Maryland Parkway. The pair went into the store yesterday. They're wearing bandanas and armed with guns. You see them right there. Customers and employees rushed out the back door. Police say the pair smashed the glass cases, but they apparently had some trouble getting that merchandise. So in the end, they didn't get away with anything.
Well, this just in, President Donald Trump visited the National Peace Officers Memorial today. A special service was held at the memorial in Capitol Hill. It was honoring law enforcement officers who were killed in the line of duty right here in the United States. The president said attacks on our police are a stain on the fabric of our society. Also that it is time to work with our cops, not against them.
All right, Yasmin, thank you. Well, the controversy is still swirling around President Trump's surprise firing of FBI Director James Comey. And in an interview with Fox News that aired this weekend, the president says that he is shocked by the fallout.
I thought that this would be a very popular thing that I did when I terminated Comey, because all of the Democrats couldn't stand him. But because I terminated him, they said, we get some political points, we'll go against Trump.
Well, meanwhile, the backlash has not let up from the Senate's top Democrat to those within his own party.
There is a need to get to the bottom of this. There's a crisis of credibility with the president.
I would advise the president not to tweet or comment about the investigation as we go forward. The Russians did interfere in our election.
President Trump insists the investigation into Russian interference in the election will continue.
Well, now to that massive worldwide cyber attack and those fears it could spread as millions return to work today. Here's what we know. More than 200,000 computers have been hit across 150 countries. The attackers demanding a ransom of $300 to $600 on each computer. Here's ABC's Brian Ross now with the latest developments.
Officials tracking the attack say it is the biggest of its kind in the history of the internet.
The latest numbers are over 200,000 victims in 150 countries.
With great concern, the worst may be yet to come this morning.
Is this just the beginning?
Well, that's the concern that Monday, when everyone returns to the office, that this ransomware attack will be even larger.
The attack spread at a speed never seen before across 6 continents, with an ominous message suddenly showing up on the targeted computers. Oops, your files have been encrypted. And a demand of between $300 and $600 in ransom to free what are essentially the kidnapped, locked-up computers. Although officials say few have paid the ransom so far.
There's been a remarkably low level of ransoms that have been paid. I think, $20,000, $30,000 worth of dollars only.
It all could have been much worse but for the efforts of this computer security programmer in Indiana, Darian Huss, who discovered there might be a kill switch.
Once the kill switch was activated, the malware would simply do nothing. It would not carry out its infection.
Huss's information was then used by a 22-year-old programmer in Great Britain who talked by phone with ABC News, fearful to show his face.
I was panicking, looking through the code, and I realized that actually, no, we had stopped it.
The biggest target in the U.S. was the giant FedEx shipping service. Elsewhere around the world, factories, hospitals, even police departments were all hit. And this morning, they're trying to decide whether or not to pay up.
Well, that was ABC's Brian Ross reporting. So how can you protect your so-called digital life in light of the massive cyber attack? Listen up. The FBI says 4,000 ransomware attacks happen daily, targeting companies and individuals across the globe. So here's what you can do.
Time you see that there's an update for a piece of software that you have, you should install it because those are usually security holes that they're plugging.
When your operating system asks if it can run a system or security update, say yes every time, or better, choose to make it automatic. Next, avoid the attacks entirely by avoiding downloads. That means clicking on attachments that you aren't sure of. And finally, back up your computer regularly by putting all your data on an external hard drive or and upload it to a cloud storage service as well. Lots of those offered.
Certainly good advice there. All right, Dana, thank you. Well, a busy interstate in Georgia is now back open today after a massive fire crumbled a section of the road in March. Both directions of the busy stretch of highway was shut down as crews raced there to rebuild it in just the last 6 weeks. You might remember back on March 30th, a huge fire destroyed that bridge. A homeless man was charged for setting the fire, which spread to construction material underneath the highway. Crews finished the repairs a month and a half ahead of schedule. It turns out there was a financial incentive to finish early, a $3.1 million bonus for the contractor.
Well, more drama for the airlines. This time, a family was kicked off their JetBlue flight to Las Vegas after an argument over a cake.
We didn't do anything. I had to move my bag.
But we moved it. But we followed your direction.
No one's in any trouble. Buddy, you're okay, all right? Don't cry. It's all right.
Well, Cameron Burke is the man recording there, and he and his family were flying here from New Jersey to celebrate a birthday. He said an argument broke out between him and a flight crew member over a cake stored in the overhead bin. Well, Burke was asked to put the cake underneath his seat, which he did, he says. But the airline disputes that and says that the family refused to remove the cake.
She told me that I was being non-compliant. Then I said, ma'am, have you been drinking?
Everyone's going to be okay.
While JetBlue claims that the father became agitated and yelled at the crew. Police were called and they got everybody off the plane. Burke and his family were kicked off and refunded their money at the terminal.
Well, now just some new information in the death of a Penn State sophomore. Timothy Piazza died after an alcohol-fueled fraternity hazing, and 18 students are now being charged, and Timothy's family is speaking out. Gio Benitez reports.
As 18 members of the Beta Theta Pi fraternity now await their fate, the parents of the 19-year-old sophomore who died during an alcohol-fueled hazing ritual are now setting their sights on the university.
This was occurring right underneath the noses of Penn State officials.
The attorney for Tim Piazza's family telling ABC News they now plan to file a wrongful death lawsuit against all of those responsible for the death of Tim, including the fraternity members, the fraternity, as well as Penn State. Piazza falling headfirst down the frat house stairs this past February. A pledge party allegedly turning into a night of forced heavy drinking. The frat brothers waiting nearly 12 hours before calling for help.
We have a friend who is unconscious. He hasn't moved. He's probably in an ambulance.
Piazza died at the hospital the next day from traumatic brain injury.
There was a task force that was impaneled a few years earlier that did nothing to stop this. The problem was widespread. The problem was endemic at Penn State. They looked away.
The school acknowledging that alcohol on campus is a serious challenge and that frat houses are especially hard to control because they are privately owned. After Piazza's death, Penn State permanently banned Beta Theta Pi, adding new restrictions for all Greek organizations and putting a graduation hold on the students charged. The school also publishing this webpage Friday, launching new alcohol education programs and promising we will not rest until we solve this problem. Still, Piazza's family says none of that can bring back their beloved son.
And that was ABC's Gio Benitez reporting. Now, Timothy's parents and older brother, they both all appeared on Good Morning America this morning, and they talked about who they think is to blame.
Well, I think the individuals involved clearly bear the most responsibility. If you read the timeline of what happened, they set out to feed these guys lethal amounts of alcohol from the outset. There was intent there right from the beginning.
Sounds like alcohol poisoning.
Right from the outset. They intended to bring these gentlemen to alcohol poisoning levels right from the outset. So at the end of the day, this was planned and orchestrated, and I think they all need to be held accountable.
Timothy's older brother also said that he warned his younger brother about joining a fraternity, but Timothy's mom called the fraternity brothers that waited to help, quote, heartless. But Timothy's parents say that they are trying to be the advocates of change in their lawsuit against the university.
Just one of those things that did not need to happen.
No, not at all.
Well, coming up, what a better way to celebrate living over a century than jumping from a plane? Well, that's not all this 101-year-old man is celebrating. We'll explain.
The Billboard Music Awards are this Sunday, and Ludacris as well as Vanessa Hudgens will co-host this year.
Yeah, it's going to be a big event, and it's the 4th year that Ludacris is actually hosting. This could be a record-breaking year, too.
If we go down, then we go down together. They'll say you could do anything. They'll say that I was clever.
All their music's so good. The Chainsmokers and Drake, they're tied, though, for the all-time record of the most nominations in a single year. Both have 22. One of them could break Adele's record of most award wins in a single show. We'll have to see. Someone would have to win more than 12, though.
Yeah.
Guess what? You can see it all live.